Hey kids, hop me up, come on, let's go! Clap your hands and say hello, fun and learning every day. Come and join us, shout hooray! Godly Kids Corner! Come and learn and play. Godly Kids Corner, growing strong each day. Hey! God loves you and me, for all the world to see at Godly Kids Corner.
In the very beginning, before cities, before history, before the sound of human footsteps, there was a garden. A place untouched by pain. A place untouched by fear. A place where every leaf shimmered with life and every breeze carried peace. Waterfalls sang as they poured down emerald cliffs. Golden sunlight danced across endless rivers. Flowers glowed softly as if the earth itself was smiling. This was Eden, the first home of humanity. A world created not by accident, but by love. And in this perfect world, one man opened his eyes for the very first time. Adam walked through the garden in wonder. Every step revealed something new. Towering trees stretched toward the heavens. Animals moved without fear. The earth welcomed him like a son returning home. He watched lions walk beside lionesses. Elephants moved gently beside their young. Birds flew in pairs across golden skies. Everywhere he looked, life existed in harmony. Everything had its place. Everything had its partner. And yet, something deep within him stirred. A quiet question he did not yet understand. One evening, Adam sat quietly upon a moss-covered stone. The sun dipped low, painting the sky in colors of fire and honey. Nearby, two small birds worked together, building a nest. They moved in perfect rhythm, gathering twigs, shaping their home, resting side by side. Adam watched them for a long time. He smiled. But behind the smile was a feeling he had never felt before. Loneliness. Not pain. Not sadness. Just a quiet space in his heart, waiting to be filled. And the Creator saw it. That night, under the glowing branches of a great willow tree, Adam lay down to rest. The air was warm. Fireflies drifted like tiny stars. The world whispered peace. And as Adam closed his eyes, a deep and gentle sleep came over him. Not ordinary sleep, but a sleep filled with divine purpose. Because while Adam dreamed, the greatest human story was about to begin. The garden grew still. Golden light began to gather in the quiet clearing. It shimmered like sunlight on water, swirling, glowing, alive. From this light, something extraordinary began to form. Carefully, lovingly, deliberately, the Creator shaped a new life. Not from dust this time, but from Adam himself. Bone of his bone, life from his life, a companion, a partner, a reflection of humanity's future. And the masterpiece was complete. She breathed in for the very first time. A slow, gentle breath filled with wonder. Her eyes opened to a world bursting with color and light. The wind touched her face. The earth welcomed her feet. Life surrounded her in every direction. This was Eve, the first woman, the first mother, the beginning of every human story to come. And soon, she would meet the one she was created to walk beside. Morning arrived with golden light spilling across the garden. Adam stirred from his sleep. He sat up slowly, and saw her standing in the sunlight. For a moment, the world stood still. No words were needed, no explanation required. He knew. The loneliness that once echoed in his heart vanished like morning mist. For the first time in history, human eyes met human eyes. And joy was born. They stood together in the middle of Eden. Two hearts, two lives, one beginning. The garden seemed to celebrate around them. Flowers bloomed brighter. Birds filled the sky with song. The wind carried laughter through the trees. Humanity was no longer alone. They ran through fields of towering sunflowers, laughter echoing through the garden. Every path became an adventure. Every river a place of wonder. Every sunrise a new beginning. Life was no longer something to observe. It was something to share. Eve knelt beside a tiny glowing flower. She leaned close, breathing in its sweetness as if discovering beauty itself for the first time. Adam watched her quietly, smiling. Because in that moment, he realized something extraordinary. Creation had become even more beautiful, simply because she was in it. Days in Eden did not pass with hurry. They unfolded slowly, like petals opening to the sun. Together, Adam and Eve walked through the garden, discovering the living world around them. Creatures great and small approached without fear. Feathers brushed their shoulders. Soft fur pressed against their hands. Gentle eyes met theirs with trust. One by one, they gave the animals names. Not as rulers, not as masters, but as caretakers of a living masterpiece. Each name was spoken with laughter. Each moment filled with wonder. It was the beginning of humanity's first responsibility, to care for creation. One afternoon, they climbed a high moss-covered cliff. From its edge, the world stretched endlessly before them. Rivers wound through forests like silver ribbons. Waterfalls glimmered in the distance. Golden light rolled across valleys and hills. They sat side by side, legs dangling over the edge, silent in awe. There was no fear of tomorrow. No regret of yesterday. Only the present. Only peace. Night in Eden was not dark. It was alive. The sky unfolded into deep purples and blues, scattered with endless stars. Adam and Eve lay on the soft grass, hands intertwined, gazing upward. The universe stretched beyond imagination, yet it felt close enough to touch. Every star seemed like a promise. Every constellation whispered mystery. They did not know the future, but they trusted the one who created it, and that trust was enough. Even the largest creatures of the earth were gentle in Eden. One morning, a tall giraffe bent its long neck toward Eve. She laughed softly and offered glowing fruit from a low branch. The giraffe accepted it carefully, eyes calm and kind. There was no violence here. No hunger driven by fear. Only harmony. The world lived in balance, just as it was meant to be. Evenings in Eden were painted in gold. The sun dipped low, turning leaves into glowing lanterns of orange and pink. Adam and Eve walked hand in hand through groves of towering trees. Shadows stretched long across the earth. Warm light wrapped around them like a gentle embrace. Time seemed to slow, as if the world itself wanted the moment to last forever. Laughter often echoed along the rivers of Eden. Crystal clear water danced over smooth stones. Adam splashed water toward Eve, and she laughed in surprise. Soon the river shimmered with playful waves and sparkling droplets. Colorful fish leapt through the air as if joining the celebration. Joy was simple here, pure, uncomplicated. At the very heart of the garden stood a tree unlike any other. Its trunk shimmered with golden light. Its leaves glowed white like captured starlight. This was the tree of life, a symbol of eternal connection between humanity and the Creator. Its presence radiated peace, a quiet reminder that life itself was a gift. But not far away stood another tree. Its branches twisted in unusual shapes. Its fruit glowed deep purple beneath shadowed leaves. This was the tree of knowledge of good and evil. It stood in silence, mysterious, still, a single boundary in a world of endless freedom. One choice, in a garden of infinite blessings. Often, as the day softened into evening, a warm light moved through the trees. Not harsh, not blinding, but comforting. Adam and Eve walked toward it with smiles and open hearts. Because this light was familiar. It was the presence of the one who created them, the one who walked with them. They sat in the grass, speaking with the glowing light as friends speak at sunset. There was no fear in their voices, no shame in their hearts. Only trust, only love, only peace. They did not know how fragile this moment truly was. Because soon, a whisper would enter the garden. And everything would change. Not all voices arrive with thunder. Some enter quietly, like a whisper carried on the wind. One day, as the garden stood peaceful and bright, a new presence slipped into Eden. Silent, patient, watching, coiled around the branches of the forbidden tree, the serpent waited. It did not come with claws or fire. It came with words, and words can change everything. Eve approached the mysterious tree. Its fruit shimmered with an unusual beauty, a beauty that seemed to call her closer. Then the serpent spoke, softly, carefully, gently twisting truth into doubt. Did God really say, "You must not eat from this tree"? A simple question, yet heavy with hidden intention. For the first time in Eden, a seed of doubt touched the human heart. Eve looked at the fruit in her hand. It was beautiful, perfect, tempting. Could something so beautiful truly be forbidden? The serpent's words echoed in her mind. You will not surely die. You will become like God. Curiosity began to grow, and curiosity can be powerful. The moment was quiet, almost ordinary, and yet it would echo through every generation to come. Eve lifted the fruit, paused, and took a bite. The world did not shatter. The sky did not fall. But something invisible shifted. Something sacred was broken. Eve turned to Adam. He saw the fruit in her hands. He saw the choice already made. Silence filled the space between them. He could step away. He could refuse. But instead, he chose to join her. And with that choice, humanity stepped across a line that could never be uncrossed. The garden felt different. The colors dimmed. The air grew heavy. The wind lost its warmth. Storm clouds gathered where sunlight once danced. Eden had not changed, but humanity had. And suddenly, the world felt unfamiliar. For the first time, Adam and Eve saw themselves differently. They looked at their hands, at each other, and a new feeling rose in their hearts. Shame, a feeling they had never known. A weight they did not understand. Innocence was gone. Fear moved them to action. They gathered leaves quickly, weaving them together in trembling hands. Trying to cover what had never needed covering before. Trying to fix what could not be undone. Humanity's first attempt to solve a spiritual problem, with human effort. Then they heard it, the familiar presence moving through the trees. The sound that once brought joy, now brought fear. They ran, hiding among thorny bushes and deep shadows. The first humans, hiding from the one who made them, and then, a voice called out through the garden. Not angry, not harsh, but filled with sorrow. Where are you? The question was not about location. It was about distance. Distance between humanity and God. The garden held its breath. Because this moment would change the world forever. Slowly, Adam and Eve stepped out from the shadows. Their heads were bowed. Their hearts were heavy. The garden that once felt like home, now felt distant. Not because God had moved away, but because they had. The silence between them carried the weight of their choice. They knelt before the divine presence. No excuses, no hiding, no more pretending. Truth stood fully exposed. Their choice had consequences, not because love had ended, but because love cannot ignore what destroys. This was the first moment humanity learned that freedom carries responsibility, and that choices shape the future. The deceiver who whispered in the shadows did not escape judgment. The serpent slipped away into the dust, a symbol of defeat. Its victory was temporary, its future already decided. Even in this moment of sorrow, a promise had been spoken. One day, evil would be overcome. Then something unexpected happened. Instead of abandonment, came compassion. Warm light surrounded Adam and Eve. Gentle hands of divine mercy clothed them in garments of skin. It was a quiet act, yet deeply powerful. A sign that even in failure, they were still loved. Justice had spoken, but mercy had answered. At the edge of Eden stood a gate. And beside it, a mighty guardian. An angel holding a flaming sword that shimmered with holy fire. The entrance to paradise would no longer be open. Not out of cruelty, but protection. Humanity could no longer live in Eden, unchanged. Adam and Eve walked toward the unknown. Their feet touched dry, dusty ground for the first time. The air felt colder. The earth felt harder. This was the beginning of the human journey. A world of work, of struggle, of learning, of growth. The first step into history. Before leaving completely, they turned around. Behind them stood the garden, glowing softly in the distance. The home they once knew. The innocence they once carried. Tears filled their eyes, not only for what they lost, but for what they had become. The wind felt colder outside Eden. Seasons began to change. The world felt harsher than before. Adam and Eve huddled together for warmth. And in that cold moment, human resilience was born. For the first time, survival became part of the story. But the sky was not completely dark. Through the heavy clouds, a single ray of golden light broke through. It touched the earth gently, quietly, a reminder that the story was not over. That failure was not the end. Hope still lived. Hand in hand, Adam and Eve walked toward the rising sun. The world ahead was unknown, unpredictable, unwritten, but they did not walk alone. Because even outside the garden, love still followed them. And so began the long human journey, a story of loss, of learning, of redemption. A story that is still being written today.
We're one big